Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another Hands Down DFS video. Week one's in the books, so we're going to be looking back and recapping the Week 1 DraftKings main slate. If you checked out our videos last week, Scotty and I went through and made our first Hands Down official DFS lineup. Didn't go quite as planned. It wasn't an awful lineup. Just missed on a couple guys. So we're going to recap kind of what went wrong, look at some of the plays of the slate, where we missed out. So let's get right into it. Over on the left here, I've just got all the scores filtered, highest to lowest. Keeping in mind, this was a single entry GPP that we entered this lineup into. So all these ownership percentages are going to be single entry GPP based. If you were looking at cash, guys like Elijah Moore were 70+% owned. Obviously, that won't be the case here. But I guess right off the bat, one thing to notice, the two highest scoring guys on the slate, Tyreek Hill, Patrick Mahomes, Scotty and I both had the same mindset in this game, that Cleveland was going to keep it slow and keep the ball out of Mahomes' hands. And that's almost exactly what happened in the first half. I mean, Cleveland took a 11-point lead, I believe, at one point, and Kansas City really couldn't get anything going. Second half happened. They were able to obviously come back and win the game, but it was quick strikes, a 75-yard touchdown to Tyreek Hill, just driving the ball downfield. Mahomes still as good as he was the past 2 years in his career, so probably could have had exposure to that game, whereas we completely faded it. But I mean, other than that, when we look at kind of the highest owned guys on the slate, the chalk didn't really pan out. You see Kyle Pitts, which we had exposure to, only 7.1 points. Then there was guys like Raheem Mostert, obviously got injured. James Robinson, Marquez Callaway was chalky as kind of what people thought would be the wide receiver one of the team, only 2.4 points. Even some of the big names running backs here, Alvin Kamara and Dalvin Cook, like sure, the 18.1 and 21.4 is nothing, is not bad at all, but it isn't anywhere near their ceiling, and they're only returning 2x value. So the story of the slate was taking a look at these guys who returned the best value. It was these cheap quarterbacks. Jared Goff here at 0.16% owned in the single entry GPP, put up 33 points. I mean, that game probably, the Lions shouldn't have come back in that, to be honest. I think San Francisco let their foot off the gas, but I know it allowed Jared Goff to throw a couple touchdowns. Hawkinson, Swift, both had good games. You'll see them down here. Hawkinson at 2% owned. I said I like Hawkinson. I think he's going to be a good play this season. I didn't like the matchup he had against San Francisco, but I mean, he showed me wrong. He put up 25 points. Swift was in a similar situation. What did he end up at? Swift down here, 24.4 at just 0.47% owned. Another great play if you played him. So those were a couple misses there. But I mean, let's take a look at the lineup we did submit. This was our lineup we built on our week one full slate breakdown. And what we definitely did right was Kyler Murray. I mean, we were both very high on him, and he met expectations. Almost 35 DraftKings points, 7% owned is pretty good. Pretty good ownership on him. I would have expected that to be a little higher, so I will take that any day. And then of course we loved the Titans Cardinals game and expected that to shoot out. Fortunately, the Titans did not put up the points we were expecting. But I mean, kind of the idea was there, right? So we had Kyler Murray with Rondale Moore. That was our main stack, and we threw in Chase Edmonds in there as kind of maybe a low-owned, big play guy. 7% isn't as low as I would have expected him. Same with Rondale Moore. They were both a little bit higher owned than I think we expected. But I think, obviously what we did was went big on the Titans wide receivers, Julio Jones, which we'll get to later, and then kind of went value with the Cardinals. And, obviously Hopkins, 2 touchdowns. That clearly wasn't the play. And then similar on the Titans side, they didn't put up many points, but A.J. Brown had a decent enough game where it was probably worth the extra $300 to get A.J. Brown, who, is the wide receiver one on that team and will probably be getting most of the looks in the going future. Some other things, Kyle Pitts, we already talked about, very highly owned at 33%, only 7 points. I mean, I don't really think anyone expected the Falcons to do as bad as they did. They're normally a pretty dominant offensive team, throw the ball a lot, but even Calvin Ridley didn't have that great a game. There wasn't much to go around, but Aaron Jones, again, I don't know what happened to the Packers. That should have been a lot closer of a game. People are already writing off Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Jones just didn't perform. So kind of a miss there. But I mean, when you're looking at the lineup, it could have been, we could have made a couple tweaks to, down here we have the minimum cash was 132 points. See, we missed that by 13 points. Just kind of have some different thresholds of where you were cashing. And there were just some small changes that we probably shouldn't have made. I know even after we posted the video, Scotty and I were chatting. We're like, is playing Chase Edmonds with Kyler Murray really the correct stack? And we were kind of hoping for a big, big check down game from Chase Edmonds where he catches a lot of balls and can take one to the house. But we were talking. We're like, what if we move Alvin Kamara up to the running back and playing Christian Kirk here? Obviously, that would have been a much better play. That way, you get two Cardinals receivers. Kirk had an unbelievable game and was less than 2% owned, as you can see here, at 24 points. I mean, that would have been a great play. And then obviously we went the wrong way with it. It was a coin flip who we were taking for the Titans pass catcher. If we did go AJ Brown, you see, that would have been a 137-point lineup. That would have cashed, gotten in the min cash. So, that's just one change where we just picked the wrong stack with Kyler Murray for our second quote-unquote pass catcher, and then picked the wrong Titans receiver. So, I think that was a small tweak we could have made and, at least min cashed. But then, looking at it, in the video, we both really liked Corey Davis, and T. Higgins was great value here. I think he was way too cheap, and 16 fantasy points, 15.8 fantasy points is kind of, it's good value if you see 3.4 times. But we both really liked Corey Davis in that game as the Jets' number one wide receiver, basically the only guy on the team that we could that the Jets could rely on the pass catches. So we plugged Corey Davis in there. Obviously, we would have been $200 over the salary limit. So looking at the lineup, who do we knock off? And we're like, we both like Kyle Pitts. We wanted that double stack with Rondale Moore and Christian Kirk. We wanted to run it back with either A.J. Brown and Julio Jones. So then you think Aaron Jones was probably the guy that we would identify to drop down to a lower running back. And then, we could have plugged in a guy like Joe Mixon, who had a good game theory towards him. He, as you can see, he was fairly high owned. A lot of people were expecting him to do well, and he put up 28 points, 4.5 times value. So that's another just small tweak that we were both high on Corey Davis. We thought Joe Mixon was going to have a good game. We thought Cincinnati would be playing from behind, so Joe Burrow would be throwing the ball a lot. But Joe Mixon obviously had a great game that would have put us at 172 points, and right in between that 5 and 10 times cash. 5 and 10 times ROI. So it really wasn't a terrible lineup. It was just kind of picking the wrong guys in the stack, running it back with the wrong guy, and then, really not following through on a guy we really liked in Corey Davis. So I think that some key things we can take into week 2, just try to make sure we play through all the scenarios and hopefully provide a better lineup and, get into the cash this time. Thanks for watching. We'll be coming out, as always, week 2, our first look videos, our full breakdown videos, maybe some prize pick videos sprinkled in there. So please subscribe, like this video, and stay tuned for more, and thanks for watching.